Being that you've studied business and finance in college, what sparked your interest for film?
I was watching a film in my 8th or 9th standard, and I was sobbing buckets because the hero in the film was being beaten up by the villain, and he's this really he's dumb, he can't talk in the film, and so you feel really sad for him. And I was in depression for a week after that, and I realized that nothing moves me as much as film. So I always wanted to do film. When I decided that I wanted to be an actor because that's what makes maximum, that's what rocks my world. I decided to do films, but I wanted to make sure that I had a backup career as well, and I love accounts and finance just as much. It's maybe a 51-49 sort of percentage. So I wanted to make sure I have an education in place before I make risky jump to films.
So how did you land this script?
The casting director, Seher Latif, is someone I've known from my ad days. So she called me in to test for the film, and then there was a second and third round that happened with John, and then they wanted to have a look at my entire work profile, and I was selected. So it was through auditions.
Being that you have worked in 2 Bollywood films, do you prefer Bollywood or Hollywood, and why?
Other than the language difference, there's not really that much that's different from the 2 industries because, also I'm too new to be able to judge yet. I've only done 2 small films in India, and this is my first big English film. But I loved my experience here and I loved my experience there, so I'd love to do both.
When you're not working as an actor, how are you training?
I watch films, and the characters that I like, I write the lines down, and then I sit in front of the mirror and I try to do it their way, and then I try to do it a way that suits me. So that's fun. I mean, and I've been doing that from my 8th, 9th standard because I didn't want to go to acting school because I haven't heard very many great things about that. So I made my own acting school at home in front of my mirror.
Who's your favorite character in this film?
Penelope. Because she hates India, and I love the way she reacts, and it's so genuine. But what I love is that even though she is generally negative, you don't hate her. I still understand what she's going through, and I love how she's played it. So for me, it just stands out more, and I love Dev's character as well, just for his energy.
What was your average day of working in India?
Well, it depended. I mean, if it was a day where I was working, because I didn't work every day because there were scenes I wasn't in, I was up at 5:30, and then we'd drive for an hour and a half to the location, and then I'd get changed and then have some breakfast, and then I'd film all the day in the best Exotic Marigold Hotel, which was a hotel that we'd requisitioned for the filming, which was a real hotel, and it was out in the country, about an hour and a half outside. But we had this journey before, which was pretty hair-raising. The red light doesn't seem to bear much resemblance to anything I've...
Or the rear light.
Or the rear light.
Doesn't bear much.
Yes, no,
well, you never see
anything
one.
really, and cows going across the road and all that, so that was good. And so we worked, and then we had lunch, and then we worked again, and I finished work at about 7 or 8, and then journeyed home. So I was home by about 9:30, 10, and then I went to bed and did the whole thing the next day. But when I wasn't working, then we were staying in a very nice hotel in Udaipur and then in Jaipur, and I could get up and go for a swim and go and visit the town. So it was a very varied time, and we were there for 9 weeks, so it was a highly enjoyable job to do.
And what was your best experience working on this entire film, from start to finish?
Well, there were a lot of good experiences. I mean, the whole experience of India is one I'm glad I had. I didn't find it altogether pleasant. There's a downside to India, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but, it was all good. Wonderful people to work with. Also, my wife is in the movie, and it was wonderful to have her with me, and I love her very much, if she's watching.
And what message do you want the audience to leave with?
There's no message in this movie. It's not a message about, be nice to your granddad or anything like that. There's nothing like that at all. So it's just a very, very enjoyable film with a beautifully satisfying structure. No message. Tolerance. But then all movies should have the message of tolerance.
And for the both of you, what's your next step?
I'm doing Downton Abbey, so I do that till August, and then I don't know.
I'm filming The Lone Ranger.